Although it isn't technically the offseason yet since we are still in the midst of the semifinals, it's been the offseason for the Red Wings for over a month now, and I kind of miss talking about them. So today I'm going to do something that I actually did last offseason, and that is go over 5 things that the Red Wings must do this offseason. It's basically like my offseason wish list. If you're a Red Wings fan like me, or if you just have an opinion on the team and there's some things you think they should do over the offseason that I do not talk about in today's video, be sure to let me know down below in the comment section. And if this is your first time checking out the channel, then be sure to hit that subscribe button. Over the past 4 weeks, over 61% of the people watching these videos are not subscribed, so let's fix that number. And although I am a Red Wings fan, don't worry, I make videos about the entire league. Now, one last thing, this is like a realistic video, a realistic wish list, so don't expect to see on here, I think the Red Wings should trade for Jack Eichel. I would love it if they did, but it's not gonna happen. Starting off the video, the first thing the Red Wings need to do this offseason, and this is a very obvious one, lock up Jacob Vrana and Tyler Bertuzzi. I think we can all agree that in the 11 games Vrana played for the Red Wings after the trade, although it was a small sample size, he showed that he can be a very, very valuable asset for this team moving forward. Vrana is 25 years old, he's coming off of a shorter term contract, so I'm sure he's going to want to sign a longer term deal this time around. And if I had to guess, I think we could see Vrana sign a deal with the Red Wings similar to the one that Mantha signed with the Red Wings last offseason, north of $5 million and in that 4-year range. And in the case of Tyler Bertuzzi, he's already 26 years old and is coming off of 2 shorter term contracts. He had a 2-year deal from 2018 to 2020, and then this past season was on a 1-year contract. So I think it's time that Detroit gets him signed longer term. The negotiations may be a little bit difficult considering how this past season went for Bertuzzi. He missed the majority of the year. I think he only played like 9 games. I trust Steve Yzerman will get it done though, and if I had to guess, just basing it off of all the other contracts Steve Yzerman has signed since becoming general manager of the Red Wings, he doesn't like to sign guys too long term. I think the max term we see on Bertuzzi's next deal is like 4 years, similar to Vrana. The next thing that I think the Red Wings need to do this offseason, it's kind of vague, but fix the damn power play, please. This past season, I believe it was assistant coach Dan Bilesma who was in control of the special teams, and he will not be returning to the Red Wings next season, so they're going to be bringing in someone new here. I don't care who it is, I don't care what their background is, the power play needs a complete overhaul. It needs a hard reset. Now obviously, of course, Detroit isn't the most skilled or most talented team out there. I don't expect them to have one of the best power plays in the league, but they definitely have enough talented players as to where they should be able to at least roll out one respectable power play unit. And this past season, it certainly wasn't all that respectable. They finished with the 30th worst power play in the league, 11.4%. The only other team with a worse power play than the Red Wings was the Anaheim Ducks, 8.9% for them. And there was actually a period of time throughout the regular season where Detroit failed to score on 40 consecutive power plays, and that just cannot happen. I really don't feel like I'm asking for too much here. Again, like I said, I don't expect them to have one of the best power plays in the league or even be in the top 10 in that category. Just make it respectable, please. The next thing that I think the Red Wings need to do this offseason, this may sound a little bit harsh, do not draft a goalie with the 6th overall pick. Now the reason that I say that is because there's a lot of people out there, not just Red Wings fans, saying that Detroit should select goaltender Jesper Wallstedt 6th overall, and I can see why you would think that. Detroit doesn't have a blue chip goaltending prospect in their system. I'm just really not a fan of selecting a goaltender with a high pick in the draft, especially in the top 10. Now I'm definitely not saying I don't think Jesper Wallstedt's going to turn out to be a good goalie at the NHL level, it's just goaltending is so random. I feel the same way about signing goaltenders to long-term lucrative contracts. It's extremely risky. I just feel like it would be a lot more beneficial for the Red Wings' future if they selected somebody 6th overall that isn't a goaltender, a defenseman like Simon Edvinsson, forwards like Kent Johnson or Dylan Guenther, if they're still available 6th overall. The player that I really wanted the Red Wings to end up with heading into this draft is Matt Beniers, but after the draft lottery, my hopes of that have kind of been crushed because I don't think he's going to make it past pick number 3. The next thing that I think the Red Wings need to do this offseason is maximize the cap space once again. We saw Steve Yzerman do this last offseason when he acquired Mark Stahl along with a 2nd round pick from the Rangers, basically getting a free 2nd round pick to take on the final year of Mark Stahl's contract. And hey, Mark Stahl actually ended up being pretty I was going to say pretty good. I'll say he ended up being fine for the Red Wings this past season. The Red Wings are going to have a boatload of cap space once again this offseason, so I'd like to see a lot more of that. An idea that I've seen floating around is potentially acquiring James Neal from the Edmonton Oilers, taking on his contract. The only thing is James Neal actually has 2 years left on his contract at a cap hit of $5.75 million, so it's not going to be up until the 2022-23 season is over. So I'm not really sure how I feel about that. Ideally, when you're looking to take on a bad contract to gain assets, you want it just to be a deal that has 1 year left on it. Maybe a guy like Louis Eriksson would be a good fit for that. He's heading into the final year of his contract, and Vancouver has to re-sign Pettersson and Hughes this offseason, so they could use all the cap space they can get. And now for the final thing we're going to talk about in today's video. I saved this for last because honestly I feel like it's the most important one. If Detroit does this, I'll be happy. The Red Wings have a lot of pending UFAs, a lot of money coming off the books, and the majority of them I would prefer if Detroit let those guys walk. However, one of the exceptions is Jonathan Bernier. He has to be re-signed. This is a guy who, in my opinion, has been Detroit's most valuable player in each of the past 2 seasons. This season especially, he played ridiculously well. On top of him just performing insanely well over the past couple of seasons, this is a guy who wants to be a Red Wing. He said after the trade deadline that leading up to the deadline, he was pretty worried. He was nervous he was going to get traded. He didn't want to leave. And after the season, Jonathan Bernier doubled down, saying him and his family like it in Detroit. He feels comfortable at the rink and on the ice, and that Detroit would definitely be his #1 choice in free agency. He would like to stay. He has to be re-signed. And I know he is 32 years old. I'm not saying the Red Wings should sign him to some insanely lucrative long-term deal, but like 2 years, maybe a $3.5–4 million AAV, I think he's earned that. So that pretty much wraps up today's video. That was my wish list for the Detroit Red Wings offseason, 5 things that I think they should do. Again, like I said at the start of the video, if there are any other things you think the Red Wings should do that I did not talk about in today's video, be sure to let me know down below in the comment section. And if you guys did enjoy today's video and maybe you want to see more like this for some different teams, then be sure to leave this video a like. That is the best way to show your support. And most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.